For multiplying polynomials, we actually have already learned how to do this using the distributive property. What's going to be different in today's lesson is that sometimes we have to use other little tricks because it's not just going to be one term outside the parentheses. But just to remind you, remember we use the distributive property, we distribute to everything in parentheses, and that idea is going to be important today. Again, the first thing we should always do is change all the subtraction to addition, keep, change, change, and then we can distribute. So if we have 3x times a quantity, 2x squared, plus a negative 5x plus 3, we can go 3x times 2x squared. Now 3 times 2 is 6. X to the first times x to the second, two bases, add their exponents. We get x to the third. Then we can go 3x times a negative 5x. 3 times a negative 5 is a negative 15, x times x, two bases, add their exponents, x squared, plus 3x times 3, 3 times 3 is 9x. So this becomes 6x to the third plus a negative 15x squared plus 9x. And again, we could write that, instead of saying plus a negative 15, we could just say minus 15x squared. So again, we want to use that idea of we have to distribute to everything in parentheses. Sometimes it's a little more difficult though when we're multiplying two binomials. So we have a little word to help us remember it, and that word is FOIL. What FOIL stands for is that first terms, outer, inner, and last terms. Because here's what happens. We tend to just multiply everything by 3x, but we have to multiply both terms by 3x, and we have to multiply both terms by 4. So FOIL helps us to do that. Let me show you what I mean. If we remember FOIL, our first terms are the ones that come first in the two binomials. So 3x and x. So if I multiply 3x times x, I get 3x to the second power. Now our outer terms, they're the ones that come on the outside. So that's 3x and 5. So if I go 3x times 5, I get 15x. Our inner terms, those are the ones that come on the inside. Okay, so if these two are the outer, then 4 and x have to be our inner terms. If I go 4 times x, I get 4x. And our last terms, just like our first terms were the 5x, or the 3x and the x, our last terms are going to be the 4 and 5. They're the ones that come at the end of each binomial. And 4 times 5 is 20. Using FOIL means we've made sure we've multiplied every single number by, or every single term by every single term. So we did our first terms, our outer terms, our inside terms, and our last terms. Then we just combine our like terms. Using FOIL, they're always the two terms in the middle. So this becomes 3x squared plus 19x plus 20. So FOIL is just a way of multiplying two binomials. Let's look at one more example. It says find the product of 2x plus 3 times 5x plus 1. Again, if there was subtraction, we change it to addition. But using FOIL, our first terms, that's 2x and 5x. 2x times 5x is 10x squared. Don't forget that this is x to the first and x to the first. O stands for outer terms. That's 2x and 1. 2x times 1 is just 2x. I is our inner terms. That's 3 times 5x. 3 times 5x is 15x. And L is our last terms. 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Again, using FOIL, our like terms are the two terms in the middle. So this becomes 10x squared plus 17x plus 3. So whether we're multiplying by using the distributive property, if there's one term outside the parentheses, or if you have two binomials, you have to remember that we have to multiply everything by everything. And using FOIL with two binomials, that's when we use FOILs, when there's two binomials, can help us to make sure we don't miss anything.